y'all doing, folks? So, I tried my best to do this live video from outside like I usually do. Prepped up in the garden there, you know, on my seat, and it's just lashing it down. It was a little bit of rain, and I thought, oh, I'll persevere like I always do, you know, because I don't mind a bit of rain. Just thought, I'll get through it. But yeah, it was properly raining, so I decided to come indoors. But yeah, I tried my best. I do like to be outside. You know, in the morning, it's part of my routine, and I think, you know, today we're going to talk about how to cultivate a mindset for success. And one of them things that I've always done is, let me just adjust this slightly just so I can lean back. There you go. Is that, you know, sitting outside and doing my morning routine. And part of that is because if you think about mindset, right, it's like state management. And in the morning, to manage your state, you want to do something that's quite familiar and repeatable to you, that you know that works, you know. And so like yesterday, I was talking about a life harmony model again, and the next day, you know, yesterday we talked about relationships. Today we're going to talk about mindset, which is another area on the life harmony model. And I'll just flip to, this is on my website, also in the journal. I'll just flip to what that means. Go to mindset. I've got master mental models, motivation, focus and state management. Motivation needs to be taken with a pinch of salt, because it's not actually a thing, you know what I mean? You don't just get motivated. You get motivated through taking action. But focus and state management is absolutely essential here, because think about mindset. Cultivating a success mindset is about focus and state management predominantly, because what you focus on, you actually get. You know, this is how you manifest everything. It's what you focus on. And state management is something that I think is one of the most important things that you can do. And this is why every morning, you know, I have a routine, right? So I sit outside, like I said, I set this video up, this live, to do it outside like I always do, because that's just my routine. And it's just raining too much, so I had to come inside. But I sit out there, you know, and I do a routine. I've just been out this morning training jiu-jitsu early, 6 a.m. Finishes at 7, and then I come home. So I get up at like 5, 5:15, go and do that. Come home, make a coffee, and I sit outside and I do my morning routine after training. And it's great. And in here, when I journal, there's a section about affirmations that set my state. And I always think that if you think about state management, how do you elevate your state? Well, it's the things that you say about yourself. So positive self-talk in terms of, you know, never use negative self-talk. I did a video on this when I was in Krakow in Poland. I think it was titled, you have a look in the videos section on my channel, it's called The 2 Things That All Successful People Do. One of them things was successful people always do the things that other people don't, so they work towards the goals, you know, they always gradually work towards the goals. They do the hard things, whatever's necessary, you know, they understand that everything takes time. and there's no get rich quick schemes, and it's basically incremental progress over time. So they do the successful things that others don't. The second thing that successful people do is they never use negative self-talk when referring to themselves, and this feeds into state management. Because when you journal, you use a positive affirmation about yourself every day. So let's think about that state management. I have this routine, right? I'm usually sat outside. I've just been training. I come back. I'm sat outside trying to get my, bit of good daylight. You want that ambient morning daylight. And yeah, I'm very good, thank you. Ambient morning daylight, get some daylight, circadian rhythm started. And you do things like, I journal every day. And I set my day with intent. So I write down in my journal the top 3 things that I'm doing. So I'm working towards my goals. And I set some positive affirmations, I use positive self-talk. And that's what state management is. And that's really the essence of mindset, right? Because if you want to cultivate a mindset, like a growth mindset, you need to have that about yourself. You never use negative self-talk. So, you don't want to, you want to avoid, it's not like boasting or like, bragging about yourself or anything like that. No, it's just giving yourself that positive affirmation. Another great thing for state management is exercise. So, as I say, I just finished training this morning. And Tony Robbins uses this. He calls it priming in the morning, he calls it. And that's state management. So he primes himself. And I think he does 2 things. He does incantations, which are like affirmations, basically. It's like chanting something positive about yourself. That's not really my cup of tea, but Tony Robbins uses it. He chants things. He chants out his affirmations. I prefer to, like I say, write them in a journal, your affirmations, but you can use that. The other thing that he does is some movement, because he has this thing called a triad, where it's the language that you use when you describe yourself, the language that you use, and your physical actions really develop your state. And that's one of the fundamental things about mindset. I think if you wake up and you apply your day with some intent, like I do with a journal, right, and you create some positive affirmations about yourself, and like I said, just write down what are the 3 things that I'm working on today towards my goals. What you end up with is you set your day with that, like, really, really good positive intentions, and you're more likely to achieve a good result in that day. And then towards the end of the day, don't forget to record your wins, what went well about the day, a bit of self-correction. And you can do that every day, and that's how you develop a really good mindset, in my opinion, is state management and starting your day with some intent. So write down the 3 things that you're going to do. Write down, maybe, use that positive language about when you describe yourself. Write down some positive affirmations. It's very powerful. The other thing with mindset is there's also some kind of deeper work, like study, that you can do on mindset. So yeah, read, right? I read every day as part of my routine. I do my journal. I've been training, so I've done the physical. I do my journal. I write, set my intentions, write down the top 3 things that I'm going to do today. I write down positive affirmations, and then I read. Once I've done the journal, set the intentions, I read. And I think education is a really good thing to develop your mindset. And the other thing that you can do once you get a bit educated is to see the world for how it is. I think, a lot of us want to believe that the world works a certain way. Maybe that's because we're not quite getting the results that we want. And I've always been a glass half full guy. I'm very positive, right, in every regard. And I'm not saying see the world in a negative light, but it does you no good in trying to convince yourself that the world is any other way than it is, because the more things that you say about yourself that are incorrect, the more of that you're going to get. You're going to get the karmic effect of not accepting the world how it is. So I always think that's really good. So you want to kind of like see the world for how it is, and then develop a set of mental models, right? Some kind of like, I don't want to say some non-truth, but it's almost like truth. But truth is, just a bit of a strange term. It can be interpreted differently by, because everyone else has their truth, right? And it is true that whatever thoughts we have, whatever we're focused on, our selective focus, tends to manifest that reality in our life. So we can all have our own truths in a way. It's really weird. So I don't want to say truths, but it's like reliable mental models that are quite reliable. But let's not forget, this world it's not that digital. It's very analog, and there are things that we don't understand about it, whether that's spirituality, the quantum world, right? So you can't 100% guarantee. You certainly can't guarantee, Alexa, you can't guarantee that everything will turn out how you planned, right? But having the mindset requires building a set of reliable mental models that you can apply in any situation, right? And that might be, a set of boundaries that you have about yourself, how you interact with others. It might also be just simple things that I use, like there's a way of communicating with people in all walks of life, whether that be family, whether that be friends, business meetings, romantic interests and partners or relationships, that kind of thing. There's a way to communicate with people, right? And I have a set of mental models that I know this sounds bad, but you can almost like profile people based on a set of mental models, and then you can pretty much predict how they'll behave. And that takes a lot of reading, in terms of the psychology. But what I'm trying to say is, if you develop those mental models, it supports your mindset because they become reliable. Yeah. So the idea being is, your mindset is predominantly focused around your beliefs about the world, right? And then it's your selective focus, right? What are you focused on? What do you believe to be true? And where is your focus going in terms of looking at your goals? And then also the positive self-talk that you use, the language that you use about yourself, right? If you can create that really, really good, positive growth mindset just by approaching each day with intent, decide what goals you're going to work on, write down the top 3 things, develop a morning routine. I know it's a bit cliche, but I think having that repeatable, the one thing I can't guarantee is where I'm going to be, because I travel a lot, right? So I move around a lot, but it doesn't matter where I go. That journal comes with me no matter what, right? And every day I start my day with intent. And that kind of predictability, and I do the positive affirmation, so I set my state. My state is really good because that's what I do the first thing in the morning. And that together with, and then I read, right? So together with the reading then gives me that growth mindset, that really good growth mindset. And think about growth mindset, right? The best thing about growth mindset is measuring backwards, as the great book, I've got it over there, Dan Sullivan's book, The Gap and the Gain. Fabulous book. In every book, you tend to pick up one or two lessons from every book. You only need one good lesson per book, and it'll stay with you for life. And that's like that is like a mental model. So the best thing that I got from Dan Sullivan's book, The Gap and the Gain, is measuring backwards. And this feeds into growth mindset. So it is the mindset. No matter where you are, right, you could be at the very bottom. And often that's the best place to be because you can't go back in it. Well, there's always a bit further back. But you could, no matter where you are, right, you can always improve tomorrow. So what you do, right, on the gap and the gain is you measure backwards. So you look at where you was the previous day. Are you slightly better, right? And that might be, you know, you might have whatever. I always use a health one because it's so fucking easy, isn't it? You know, getting in shape, losing weight, all that stuff. You can measure backwards on that. You can see progress. And what Dan Sullivan's talking about in The Gap of the Gain is you don't want to be in the gap. In the gap is looking towards the future about what you don't have. And that is, you know, scarcity, isn't it? You know, back to the mindset thing again. You don't want to live in scarcity, so you want to measure backwards. And the best thing about a growth mindset is it doesn't matter where you are today, because tomorrow you'll be better. And that's a fabulous thing. So if you're sort of measuring backwards on your results, I think this is where, you know, you almost become immune to it because you're not bothered. You're like, well, so what? I'll just be better. I'm, you know, looking forward to improving and measuring backwards. And it's like this in every walk of life. Even like some people that I work with, like dating, you know, not quite getting the results that they want. It's like, well, you know, maybe you have to get in shape or something. I don't know, right? Or learn a bit of game or whatever, right? Go and read some books or, you know, learn a bit of game, or frightened of interacting with people. Well, just how do you do that? How do you overcome that kind of approach anxiety? Well, you just go out and start interacting with people. You've got to overcome your fears. It's the same in business, you know. When you first start a business, you're a little bit scared in meetings and sales meetings and this kind of thing, and you're not quite getting it. Well, you just got to keep going. And then slowly over time, you get better. You get better at selling your products or whatever. And you measure backwards, always measure backwards. So it's the same. This is back to the point, right? Developing a set of mental models there. You see what that was. It doesn't matter whether it's dating or business. You know, you're still getting better at your interactions, and that those communication techniques apply to everything. I was very fortunate that I had 3 years coaching with a very successful business coach who is now a really successful author, and he was a hostage negotiator, and we did lots of active listening techniques on negotiations. Now that mental model that I developed there is so powerful. Yes, I can use it in business, but I also use it in my personal life, like in relationships and even with friends and family. That same mental model applies, and that forms part of my mindset. You know, it's like my beliefs about the world. So yeah, and I know that I'm always measuring backwards too. So this is what you do to develop that kind of growth mindset. A growth mindset is kind of it starts by just accepting that you can learn more. You know, because have you ever met one of them people that just absolutely refuses to accept that you can improve, or just not interested whatsoever? They've got a very closed mindset. And there's nothing against them people. It's just, You know, I know people like that. But over time, what you'll notice is that you'll just create a fucking massive gap between you and them. Eventually, you know, over time, it takes a few years. But you'll get to the point where you just got such a superior mindset in terms of your approach to the world, how you approach problems, you know, just having bulletproof emotional self-control, those sorts of things, right? Where no matter how big the challenge is, you can just look at it and you know that you can break it down and you're going to get there step by step because you've got that growth mindset. And I think that's ultimately important, you know. So, yeah, to start working on your mindset, don't forget, right? Just start with focusing on your goals, 3 things a day, and using some positive self-talk, whether that's what I do, which is writing some positive affirmations down in a journal, and also using some gratitude, and then you focus what you're working on, right? Setting some intentions for the day, using positive affirmations, and do that every single day, you know, one after another every day, and create that. You create a habit. Me journaling now, it's like a habit, right? And the funny thing is, it's not the journal that's doing the work. All the journal is doing, it's just a tool to help me record all this stuff and direct my focus, because I write down my focus, right? So I prime my state every day because I physically write it down. It really helps me commit to memory. So it's just a tool for me to write it down. You could write it in a notebook, right? It doesn't matter. Some people can do this on a digital journal. I used to use a digital journal, but I don't anymore because I just think the physical act of writing it down is just much more powerful for me. You know, there's something there, and it really allows me to say, I literally, you know, just looking at it, even yesterday, right, was a Sunday. Now, the goals for a Sunday are never that strong, but here now, I've literally ticked off my 3 things for yesterday, and I thought, that is a pretty good Sunday, even doing 3 things on a Sunday. Right? I didn't work. That is just by having that intent for the day. A lot of the weekend stuff is about family and fun things, you know, but they're still part of my goals, you know. And that's it. It's just living with intent, using positive affirmations, never use negative self-talk, and reading and educating yourself and keeping that growth mindset, and keep measuring backwards, seeing the progress you've made. It doesn't matter if you're not where you want to be. As long as you keep moving forwards, that's what matters. And you can, yeah, that's it. Develop that growth mindset. And I think, yeah, if you start with a growth mindset, knowing, you know, if you're just open to this, open to understanding that you can improve, it's a great feeling, because you feel invincible, because it's like, yeah, you know you can get there eventually. No matter how big that task is, you can just break it down. Once you get that growth mindset, you know you can do it. And you just outpass anyone that's got a fixed mindset by far. There's so much to learn, so much to do. And yeah, don't forget state management in the morning. Set your intentions. Use positive language, affirmations. All right. Hope you like that one. See you all next time.